uncomfortable questions about the agenda, and you can't raise questions like that. On the other side of the quotient, we have a candidate who is tepid, not really running. He seems to sit there and take a beating, and all he does is play catch up and defense. And now he releases tax returns. The biggest mistake he's ever made is now releasing them. Even though he paid an aggregate of 20%, that's not going to be enough for the commies. They'll say, well, the average person pays more. He should have paid more. So, again, he fell into their trap. He doesn't know what he's doing. His campaign advisors are undermining him on purpose, in my estimation. But you don't want to believe me when I tell you that some of his chief advisors voted for Obama. You don't want to believe that. You don't want to believe that a campaign could be set up to fall. You want to believe that this is a fair and equitable campaign, but you don't understand that it may not be. And so for your listening entertainment on this Rock and Roll Friday on the Savage Nation, I have for you a interview with Mitt Romney. It's live, and there's an empty chair in the studio for Mr. Romney. And the reason there's an empty chair is because there's an empty chair. Mr. Romney chooses to go on shows that hate him, set him up, put him down, make him uncomfortable. I don't have to repeat the names of these shows because you know what they are. And what really got my goat is these ads that the Republicans are running on every cable channel. Attention Tea Party activists and American patriots. Obama's outspending us. He went up 5% since the DNC. Attention Tea Party activists and patriots. Send us your money to the RNC. Puke. I'll send you nothing. What do you mean send you money for what? What do you stand for? Winning? That's all you stand for? Why don't you tell us what you stand for? Say you stand for something, Mr. Romney, then maybe you wouldn't have to beg us for the money. That's what I'd like to say. And so here's my first question to Mr. Romney, sitting here in the empty chair, and here it is. Mr. Romney, why are you running such a weak campaign and not attacking Barack Obama? Okay, I understand that's your answer. Now, my listeners out there in the Savage Nation, if you have a question for the empty chair in which Romney is not sitting here on the Savage Nation, you can call in your question to the empty suit or the empty chair at 1-800-449-8255. We've got quite a few of them. And let's begin in Sacramento, California on KSTE. Peter, what's your question for the empty chair?
Michael, 13 years ago, you made me a loyal listener with 3 words: orders, language, and culture. This retirement of the Endeavor is the September 11th on our culture. And I want to know what Mitt Romney is going to do to reinstate our culture.
Okay, you're asking Mitt Romney, what are you going to do to restore America's pride? Mr. Romney, any answer? Well, there's your answer. I hope that satisfies your question. Be sure to send money to the Romney campaign. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Stephen, what's your question for the empty chair?
Dr. Savage, I'd like to know if Romney considers Obama to be a clear and present danger to this country, making a concerted effort to dismantle the U.S., or is he just incompetent, naive, and misguided?
Mr. Romney, what's your answer to that question? You know, it's not bad. It's working so far. It was made up on the spot. Beowulf said, come on. I said, I'm going to interview the empty chair. I said, what can we run when I asked the question? He said, how about a dial tone? Doug came up with a dial tone. What other soundbite can we use, Beowulf? Do we have anything else for the answers? Well, let's see. What are we getting from the candidate-in-chief here, Mitt Romney? We're getting nothing. We're getting a dial tone. Every time you've called his campaign to ask him to come on the show, you basically get a dial tone. So let's keep it up. Here's another one. Pablo in Arizona. Go ahead. You're on the Savage Nation. What's your question for Mitt Romney?
Yes, Governor Romney, I'm wondering why you were so strong and getting funds in saying you didn't need the 47%. There's no way you could get them. Why are you chasing them now and making yourself weak?
Oh, is that a good question? He said to the rich Republicans, I don't need the 47% who are receiving government benefits, and yet he's going on their radio and television shows. Is that your question, Pablo?
Yeah, I see him on Univision. He's getting booed. Why is he going there and getting weak? If you don't need him, why do you need him? Don't go after him. Stay strong.
If you can't beat him, why do you... Okay, Mr. Romney, if you can't beat him, why do you need him? Good. Okay, if you have a question for the empty chair in my studio, that is Mr. Romney's empty chair, which I think we're going to run until eventually even he comes to understand he's now become a laughingstock amongst conservatives in America. We've had enough. We're throwing down the gauntlet to Mitt Romney's campaign. We have had enough of your telling us to drop dead because you're going to vote for us. We're not doing it. Maybe they won't vote for you, Romney. Maybe you'll lose in a landslide, Romney, because you're not talking to the people who should be voting for you. And they're not going to vote for you if you keep this up. That's my estimation. Okay, how's that? Now, many of you are going to say, how dare you attack Mitt Romney? He needs every vote he can get. Hey, that's your problem. It's not my problem. I have my way of doing things. Maybe you have your way of doing things. Virginia Beach. Freddie, what's your question for the empty chair that Romney's sitting in?
My question, Dr. Savage, is I want to know how Mr. Romney is going to restore fiscal sanity to the federal government.
Mr. Romney, you inherited $1 trillion deficit, and your opponent, Mr. Obama, has raised it to $3 or $4 trillion. What would you do the first day that you take office, Mr. Romney? Okay. All right, there's your answer. Okay. Guys, what other sound bites can we use? Does anyone have an answer for anyone out there have any ideas now? Let's get into the production, radio production together. If you're enjoying this Grilla Romney segment with the soundbite of a telephone dial tone, what other sound bites can we use? Beowulf, any other ideas? How about No, I don't think the buzzer will work. Okay, we'll take your calls while I give you the latest news, but we need a laugh right now. And every day, as you well know, I told you I would give you a moment of laughter. And that, of course, is provided us by Nancy Pelosi. Every time she speaks, we get a belly laugh. So here is your belly laugh for Friday. It's Nancy Pelosi. I don't know if I like the crickets as much as I like the dial tone. Well, let's go back to the dial tone. New York Pete, question for Mitt Romney's empty chair. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Governor, I'd like to know, when do you plan on taking the gloves off?
Okay, Mr. Romney, you're on. You're sitting here at the Savage Nation. You're in the empty chair. Mr. Romney, when do you intend to take your gloves off? Pete, does that answer your question?
That answers it. Thank you very much, Doctor.
See, at least I got a chuckle out of you. Hey, look, if I can't turn a lemon into lemonade, I don't know what I can do. I mean, we got to laugh about this. We have a disaster in the White House, and shall I call him Mr. Rogers on the Republican side? Does that work for you? He's like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Hello, boys and girls. I'm Mitt Romney, and I'm on your side. How are you today? How are you all? Mr. Obama is a nice man. We just disagree in terms of economic philosophy. Are we feeling good out there? Because Ann and I would like you to understand that if we run America, and as you know today, there's no such thing as a president per se. It's a partnership. And we're asking you to vote for Ann as much as you are for me, because in the new age, a man could be a pocketbook carrier and still be a decent president. Ann and I are very happily married, and we have a vision for America. We don't know what it is, but we have a vision for America, and we hope you'll join us. I'm calling him now affectionately the cryogenic candidate. Mitt Romney, the cryogenic candidate, for those of you who even know what the word means. I realize that we conservatives are not allowed to use more than 2 syllables at a time without permission from the higher powers, but we're going to try cryogenic. Look it up. If you have a question, let's hear it on the Savage Nation. Sacramento, California. Tony, what's your question for Mr. Mitt Romney?
I'd like to ask the good governor. He was so savage in dismantling Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum during the primaries. Where is it now? Why can't he bring on the savagery? No pun intended.
Okay, Mr. Romney, you're on. Here's your question. I'm addressing Mr. Romney's empty chair here on the Savage Nation. Mr. Romney, why are you incapable of attacking Obama, given that you attacked Newt Gingrich and Santorum so viciously? Go ahead, please. Well, there's your answer. I think that the governor must have visited a Taco Bell or something along the lines in order to see if he can win another vote here and there. Let's go to the next caller. Gloria in New York on WOR. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Romney, Governor Romney, I'd like to ask you a question. Do you have the nerve to ask Obama why he has Hillary Clinton negotiating with foreign countries to tally our vote? I don't remember giving up my sovereignty.
Mr. Romney, as you may not know, Michael Savage divulged on this program several months ago that an organization, a company, a socialist-owned company in Spain, actually tallies the votes for America. What do you have to say? Did you know that, Mr. Romney? You have any idea about that? Mr. Romney, go ahead, please. Well, I guess that was news to the governor. I guess he himself didn't know that, Gloria. I'm sorry that it seems to be making him ill, these questions, but we're going to continue to go. Let's go to the next question for Mr. Romney on the Savage Nation. Tampa, Florida. Vince, what's your question for the empty seat that Mr. Romney is sitting in?
Hi, Mr. Romney. How you doing? I'd just like to ask you, if President Obama is such a nice and gregarious man, why did he unlawfully bypass Congress and purchase 450 million steel-coated, hollow-point 357 and 40 caliber bullets for his government agencies to be used for domestic purposes?
Mr. Romney, would you please answer Mr. Vince from Tampa, Florida? Go ahead, please. I think of all the sound answers, Vince. That actually says it all, don't you? Oh, that's an actual hang-up. I realize that this is juvenile, and I shouldn't be juvenile in a political arena, but you know what? I've had enough of Romney. I'm not taking it anymore. You say I'm angry at Obama for what he's done to America. I am. But I'm actually just as angry at the Republicans for taking the conservative vote for granted. Hell no, we won't go. I'm warning you, you're going to lose by 8 points if you keep this up. It's not just Michael Savage's show that he won't go on. I don't think you understand this. Romney despises conservatives. I was told this from insiders. I was told he doesn't like Tea Party members. He looks upon you with derision. You know what? My gloves are off. I don't really care what you think of me. If you think that I'm a fan of big Republicans, you're mistaken. I am not a Republican. I have never been a Republican. I've been an independent since I began in radio in 1994. And as far as I'm concerned, Romney is the most tepid candidate of all. I'm stuck with him, yes. It doesn't mean I have to like him, and it doesn't mean I have to support him. And I'm not supporting him. How's that? How's that? How's that, my friends? So we've done our job here. One last question for Mr. Romney, and I'm going to go to all of the news. You can afford it. But I looked at it, I said, I can't believe it. I cannot believe what an average working man must be going through in this country today, paying these kind of prices for gasoline. And who did it to us? Obama. Vulnerable. One of the greatest vulnerabilities. And where is the empty chair on it? Let's hear the soundbite. That's your answer. Then we'll go to break. Mr. Romney? Okay.